Welcome to this KuppingerCole Analyst chat. I'm your host. My name is Matthias Reinhardt. I'm lead advisor and senior analyst with KuppingerCole Analysts. My guest today is Mike Small. He is a senior analyst with KuppingerCole acting out of the UK. Hi, Mike. Good to see you.
Hi, Matthias.
Great to have you. And we want to start a series of episodes around a special topic which is really interesting, I hope, to most and everybody of our audience, because we want to look at the future of cloud, at the future of hybrid IT, because there are lots of developments going on right now, and we want to look at different facets of that topic over the course of the next episodes together with you, Mike. To start out, it's at the future of hybrid IT. To start it, what is hybrid IT today?
Okay, well, often in order to look into the future, you have to look into the past. And when you look into the past of IT, one of the things that is most remarkable is how difficult it is to get rid of the past. For years, people were dancing on the grave of the mainframe, and yet the mainframe is still with us. And so hybrid IT, whilst it is kind of an interesting concurrent piece of terminology, it actually really refers to the way IT has been for most of my working life, which is to say that whatever you used to have will not go away, or it's very difficult to get rid of. And so it coexists with whatever has come next. Now, in terms of what it actually means today, some years ago, the cloud arrived, and the cloud came with great promises. In particular, these promises were that the systems which the IT department previously had difficulty in making work or delivering were suddenly delivered as a service. And you simply brought along your credit card as a business owner, and you could get access to a CRM system and to all kinds of systems that you've been asking for years. And then people who wanted to develop software but couldn't afford to buy the hardware that they needed to do this, to try out their business ideas, found that they could just, with a credit card, buy incredible amounts of computer power in order to do this development. Now, so this was great. So you got the born on the cloud use of IT, and you got the business service delivered as software as a service. And all that sounded really good. However, the problem that this was overcoming was that the current or the previous way in which IT was delivered was very expensive and very slow to change and required lots of capital expenditure. So cloud services came along and offered flexibility and cheapness, as well as solutions that actually worked. So far, so good. But once organizations started to use these systems, they realized that they had to comply with regulations. There were all kinds of issues to do with who was responsible for security. And so the cloud comes with this shared model for security, which causes some kinds of difficulties when people don't understand it. If you think the cloud service provider is going to deal with security and compliance, that is true to some extent. They have a part responsibility, but you also have some responsibility. So what this led to was that the business or the chief risk officer and the chief compliance officers started to say, well, now we're using the cloud, how can we be sure that we're still compliant? Because we don't understand the controls. So now you have, as well as the fact that simply using the cloud didn't actually remove many of your previously existing applications that were running on premises, it actually meant that some of those systems became more difficult to move because you could not easily prove that if you move them to the cloud, that they would become compliant and would meet the security objectives. And so those things together led to this this problem that now you don't have everything in the cloud and you don't have everything on premises. You have an unholy mixture of the two, which takes us back to where I started. The notion at the beginning of all of this was that the cloud service providers were bringing up an idea of a golden future where a business would no longer have to bother itself with managing the intricacies of delivering IT services, that all that would be done for them and they could concentrate on their business. So what we've ended up with is that the cloud is actually extremely useful for some things, and on-premises systems have not died the death that people predicted. So you have both of these things to manage, and that is hybrid IT.
Right. So we have an added level of complexity by having infrastructure twice. We have infrastructure on-prem and we have infrastructure in the cloud. And the challenge for IT departments, you've mentioned risk officers, and for understanding risk in general, has not doubled, but actually it has, it's to the power of two. So it really is.
It has multiplied.
It has multiplied, exactly.
Yes.
So hybrid IT does solve problems, but it creates its own kind of problems, right?
Yes, that's right. So when you look at the causes, that there are many reasons why people want to use cloud services. For many of the things that organizations depend upon today, you have to have an IT service. Some years ago, that IT service was a differentiator. But having a CRM system is something every organization has to have. Having an email system is something every organization has to have. And so the differentiation that you get by running those does not outweigh the cost. On the other hand, many of the things that are really giving you your business value may be so sensitive and hold data that is so important that you don't really want to put them at risk by putting them in the cloud. Some of the things that your business depends upon cannot easily be moved to the cloud because they depend upon intricacies of the way that they have been written or the way or the environment which they run in, which is not easy to reproduce in the cloud. And so what you end up with is this multiplicity of security management and governance tools, which is the problem that comes from this diverse environment. And so it isn't simply cloud, non-cloud. It is, in a way, it is each delivery mechanism brings with it its own management systems. So each of the cloud service providers themselves provides their own management tools. And those are different depending upon whether you're looking at infrastructure as a service or whether you're looking at software as a service. And different perhaps to what you had on premises. And So the single tool that people wanted in the first place does not currently exist. There are nevertheless some of the vendors are trying to produce those things, but there isn't a single game in town which everybody could say works for that. So the problems that are to do with the hybrid environment come from the increased complexity or that has been brought along by organizations moving to the cloud. And that complexity comes from governance, security, and compliance.
Great. So that's a first starting point towards looking at hybrid IT and understanding the benefits and the risks that come with it, and the problem of how to do this right. We will continue that discussion in further episodes, and I think we still have to increase complexity and have to look deeper into the challenges of hybrid IT and how hybrid IT will change over time. And I expect there are many trends to look at as well. For today, thank you very much, Mike, for giving that first introduction into hybrid IT, and I hope that the audience is looking as much forward to the further episodes to drill deeper into doing things right and looking at future trends of the hybrid IT. For the time being, thank you very much, Mike, for being my guest today.
Thank you. You're welcome.
See you. Bye-bye.